Hold up, America. Did you hear the bombshell from USCIS? New fees, new rules, and big changes are coming for green cards and work permits in 2025, and they're hitting hard.
That's right, Sarah. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services just dropped a game changer with the H.R. 1 reconciliation bill. And it's going to affect millions of people trying to live and work legally in the U.S. If you're a citizen with family, friends, or co-workers navigating the immigration system, this is huge.
Welcome to the @IRFM Newses podcast, where we break down the biggest news impacting your life in plain, simple English. I'm Sarah, and this is my co-host, Henry.
Hey everyone. Today we're diving deep into the USCIS announcement that's got everyone talking. New fees for asylum seekers, work permits, green cards, and more are coming fast, starting July 22nd, 2025. And if you miss the new rules, your application could get rejected by August 21st.
So grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's unpack what these changes mean for you, your loved ones, and the future of immigration in America. This is going to be a wild ride.
What's the big deal? All right, Sarah, let's set the stage. On July 18th, 2025, USCIS announced a massive overhaul of fees for immigration applications, all tied to the H.R. 1 reconciliation bill, also called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It's a mouthful, I know.
Yeah, who comes up with these names? But seriously, this bill was signed into law by President Trump on July 4th, 2025, and it's shaking up the immigration system big time. We're talking new fees for everything from asylum applications to work permits and even green cards.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. These fees aren't just small change. They're steep, and they're mandatory. If you don't pay the right amount starting July 22nd, 2025, USCIS will reject your application after August 21st. No exceptions.
Ouch, that's a tight deadline. So let's break it down for our listeners. Henry, what's H.R. 1 and why does it matter to everyday Americans?
Great question. H.R. 1 is a budget reconciliation bill, which means it's a big legislative package that deals with federal spending and revenue. It passed with a slim majority in both the House and Senate, and it's got a ton of stuff in it, not just immigration. Think tax cuts, military spending, and even border security.
Yeah, I heard it's funding things like $46.5 billion for border walls and $45 billion for immigration detention centers. That's billion with a B. But for our listeners, the immigration fee changes are what hit closest to home.
Totally. These fees affect anyone applying for immigration benefits, whether it's a green card to stay permanently, a work permit to get a job, or even asylum to escape persecution. And if you're a U.S. citizen with family members going through this process, you're going to feel the impact too.
Right? Because a lot of us have loved ones, coworkers, or neighbors who are immigrants. These changes could make it harder for them to stay here legally, which affects our communities, our workplaces, and even our economy.
Spot on. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The Federal Register notice from July 18th, 2025, lays out the new fees, and some of them are jaw-dropping. Ready to dive in?
Born ready? Let's do this. Breaking down the new fees. Okay, Henry, let's start with the big one, asylum applications. I was shocked to learn that applying for asylum used to be free, but not anymore.
Yeah, that's a huge shift. Starting July 22, 2025, anyone filing Form Y-589, the application for asylum and withholding of removal has to pay a $100 fee. And if your asylum case is still pending after a year, you'll owe an additional $100 every single year until it's resolved. They're calling it the Annual Asylum Fee, or AAF.
Wait, so if someone's fleeing persecution, like they're literally running for their life, they have to pay $100 just to apply for safety? And then keep paying every year if USCIS takes forever to process their case?
Exactly. And here's the tough part. These fees cannot be waived, no matter how broke you are. Historically, USCIS offered fee waivers for people who couldn't afford to pay, but H.R. 1 says no dice for these new fees.
That feels so unfair. Asylum cases can take years to process because of backlogs. So, someone could end up paying hundreds of dollars just to wait for a decision.
It's a real gut punch. Critics are saying this could discourage people from seeking asylum. especially those who are already in tough financial spots. The National Immigration Forum called it pricing the process beyond reach for refugees.
Okay, what about work permits? A lot of people need those to work legally while their immigration case is pending.
Big changes there too. Form I-765, the Application for Employment Authorization Document, or EAD, now has new fees for certain groups. For example, asylum seekers and people with temporary protected status, or TPS, have to pay $550 for their initial work permit and $275 for renewals.
Whoa, $550 just to get a job? That's a lot of money, especially for someone who's just arrived in the US.
And there's more. The validity period for these work permits is now shorter. For parolees and TPS beneficiaries, your EAD is only good for 1 year or the duration of your status, whichever is shorter. So, you might have to keep paying that $275 renewal fee more often.
That's rough. And what about green cards? I know a lot of our listeners have family members applying for permanent residency.
Green card applicants are getting hit hard too. The fee for Form I-485, the application to adjust status, is now $1,500, up from about $1,225 when you include biometrics and EAD fees. And if you need a waiver of inadmissibility, like if there's an issue with your immigration history, that's $1,050, up from $930.
These increases add up fast. For a family applying for green cards, that could be thousands of dollars.
Totally. And there's another fee that's raising eyebrows, the visa integrity fee. It's a $250 surcharge on every non-immigrant visa, like H-1B, L-1, or even tourist visas. It's supposed to fund fraud detection, but it's going to make visas more expensive across the board.
So whether you're a student, a worker, or just visiting, you're paying extra. And I heard there's even a $30 fee for Form Y-94, the arrival departure record. That's new, right?
Yep, brand new. It's for administrative tracking, but it's another cost piled on. Oh, and if you enter the U.S. without inspection or fail to show up for an immigration hearing, there's a whopping $5,000 penalty. Non-negotiable.
$5,000? That's insane. I can't imagine how families are going to budget for all this.
It's a lot to take in. And here's something else. Not all the fees from H.R. 1 are in effect yet. USCIS says they're still working on fees for things like Form Y-131, the application for travel documents, and Form I-102 for replacing arrival/departure records. Those are coming later, so brace yourself for more changes.
Okay, I need a breather. This is overwhelming. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what these changes mean for U.S. citizens and our communities. Hey listeners, loving the @FM Newses podcast? Make sure to subscribe on YouTube at RFM Newses for more breakdowns of the news that matters to you. And if you're finding this episode helpful, drop a comment or share it with a friend.
How this affects U.S. citizens. Sarah, we've covered the new fees, but let's talk about why this matters to U.S. citizens who might not be applying for immigration benefits themselves.
Absolutely. If you're a citizen, you might be thinking, I'm good, this doesn't affect me. But hold on, it does. So many of us have family members, friends, or coworkers who are immigrants. These fee hikes could make it harder for them to stay here legally, which impacts our families and communities.
Right. Let's say you're a citizen married to someone applying for a green card. That $1,500 fee for Form Y-485, that's coming out of your household budget. And if your spouse needs a work permit to contribute to the family income, that's another $550. These costs add up, and they can strain families financially.
And it's not just about money. If your loved ones can't afford these fees, their applications could get rejected. That could mean they can't work legally, or worse, they could face deportation. That's a huge emotional toll on families.
Totally. And let's talk about the workplace. A lot of American businesses rely on immigrant workers. Think tech companies with H-1B visa holders, or farms using H-2B workers. The new $250 visa integrity fee and other costs could make it pricier for employers to hire these workers, which might lead to higher prices for goods and services.
So we could all end up paying more at the grocery store or for tech services because of this? That's wild. And what about humanitarian programs like Asylum or TPS? Those fees hit people who are often the most vulnerable.
Yeah, the $100 asylum fee and the annual $100 fee for pending cases are especially controversial. Critics, like the American Immigration Council, say this turns humanitarian protection into a pay-to-play system. If someone can't pay, they might not even get a chance to make their case for safety.
That's heartbreaking. And for U.S. citizens, it's a reminder that our country's immigration policies affect the kind of society we live in. Do we want to be a place that welcomes people fleeing danger? Or one that puts up financial barriers?
Deep stuff, Sarah. And there's an economic angle, too. Immigrants contribute billions to the U.S. economy through taxes, spending, and starting businesses. If these fees make it harder for people to stay and work legally, that could hurt local economies, from small towns to big cities.
So true. I mean, think about your favorite local restaurant or small business. A lot of them are owned or staffed by immigrants. If they can't afford these fees, we could see businesses struggle or even close.
Exactly. And one more thing. A portion of these new fees goes to the U.S. Treasury's General Fund, not just to USCIS for processing applications. Some folks are saying that's turning immigration into a revenue stream for the government, which feels kind of icky.
Yeah, it's like taxing people's dreams of a better life. Okay, Henry, let's shift gears. What can our listeners do to navigate these changes or help others who are affected?
What can you do? All right, let's get practical. If you're a U.S. citizen with loved ones going through the immigration process, or if you just want to stay informed, here are some steps you can take.
Step 1. Check the USCIS website. They've got a fee schedule page and a fee calculator tool to help you figure out the exact cost for any application. That's super important because, as we said, applications with the wrong fees will get rejected after August 21st, 2025.
Step 2. If you're helping someone with their application, make sure it's postmarked before July 22nd, 2025, if you want to use the old fees. After that, the new fees are mandatory. And double-check the payment instructions. USCIS is strict about this.
Step 3. If you or someone you know is struggling to pay the existing USCIS fees, not the new HR1 fees, you might be able to request a fee waiver using Form Y-912. But remember, the new fees from HR1 can't be waived no matter what.
Step 4. Stay informed. USCIS says more fee changes are coming for forms like I-131 and I-102, so keep an eye on their website or follow trusted news sources like @IRFMNewsS on YouTube for updates.
And step 5. Get involved. If you think these fees are unfair, you can contact your local representatives or support organizations like the National Immigration Forum or LULAC. They're advocating for fairer immigration policies, and your voice matters.
Totally agree. And if you're a citizen sponsoring a family member, like a spouse or parent, start budgeting now. These fees are steep, and planning ahead can make a big difference.
Great advice, Henry. This is a lot to process, but knowledge is power. The more we understand these changes, the better we can support our communities and push for a system that works for everyone.
Well, folks, that's our deep dive into the USCIS fee changes for 2025. From asylum seekers to green card applicants, these new rules are going to shake things up.
Yeah, and whether you're a citizen or not, these changes touch all of us, our families, our workplaces, our communities. So let's keep the conversation going. Head over to @IRFMNewsS on YouTube, drop a comment, and let us know how these changes are affecting you.
And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We're here to keep you in the loop on the news that matters.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Henry. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.